Okay, as promised, it's 8:01. Thank you for joining us. My name is Josh Sussman. I'm the Director of Programming at Nefesh B'Nefesh in the Programming and Marketing Department. We're very happy to be joined by Sarah Brenner this evening. She came to me a couple months ago and proposed this idea. It's not something we've done in the past, so I was always excited to get new, fresh ideas out for our programming. Obviously, it doesn't necessarily apply to everyone. It's not like a pre-Aliyah program where we're going over documents and FBI background checks and that type of thing. But for the people that are looking to buy a new home or redo their home, I thought it was a valuable tool that we can offer. It's, in many ways, a very different process than what people might be used to from wherever they may have arrived in Israel from. And so I was very pleased that Sandy approached us, and happy to have her here this evening to share her expertise with you. I don't plan to redo my home anytime soon, but I suspect I'll learn something as well, which is fun. So with that, I will pass to Sandy. We are going to take questions at the end. Please put your questions in the Q&A. I'll be monitoring them. And at the end, after Sandy presents the presentation, we will go through, I'll moderate the questions and present them to her. She will answer them out loud. If anything pops up that's not particularly mateam to this conversation, I'll answer it as we go. But please use the Q&A, not the chat. And with that, I will pass to Sandy. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Josh. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be sharing this information with the Nefesh B'Nefesh community. My name is Sandy Brudner. I'm the founder and principal designer of Sandy B Interiors. We're a referral-based interior design studio in Jerusalem. I'm passionate about helping families design their homes in Israel. My belief is that our homes are the foundations of our lives. It's a place that we feel safe and secure, and a place that nurtures us and our families. We design, plan, manage, and style spaces, transforming them into beautiful and functional homes. We work closely with our clients, catering to their needs, ensuring their homes are inviting, stylish, and practical, while bringing life, character, and personality into every room. Our custom design process ensures every home is designed with the clients in mind, so every space is unique to our client's vision and style. If you're here this evening, it means that you're either thinking of purchasing an apartment or you've already purchased one. You're taking this first step here, being here this evening. That's so exciting and a dream come true, so mazal tov. In Israel, I would say there's about 3 main ways of buying a property. There may be others, but I find that these are the 3 main areas. There's a private purchase, which you buy the piece of land and then you have an architect design it and then you custom build it. There's a secondhand home where you buy an apartment and then either move into it, do some renovations, and then move in. And then there's buying in a new development project. For the purpose of this presentation, we're going to be talking about purchases in a new development project. I'll be sharing with you general guidelines. There will, of course, be exceptions to these guidelines. Every builder has their way of doing things, but I'm going to give you a general overview. So we'll be talking about today the initial meeting between the builder's coordinator, which here in Israel is called a Metayemet Shinuim, why it's important to have your budget and to know your budget. We'll talk about the changes that you can make to floor plans. We'll talk about the selections, your selections. We'll talk about designing your kitchen, doing site visits. We'll talk about the exciting step of closing on your apartment. And then once you have your keys, post-builder upgrades and home styling. The meeting with the builder's coordinator, the Metayemet Shinuim, will be just shortly after you've signed the contract and given your down payment. The builder's coordinator will invite you to their office or through a Zoom call. And the Metayemet Shinuim is the liaison between you, the buyer, and the builder. For the first couple of months, or the first couple of months, month and a half to 2 months, your interaction will only be with this liaison person. It will be afterwards in the months ahead that you'll have contact with the builder, the foreman of the site, but the first couple of months will be with the building coordinator. There are a couple goals to this meeting. There are the builder's goals, and then there are your goals. The goals of the builder are to review their process. Every builder has their own process, so they'll inform you of what their process is. They'll share with you their timeline. Once you meet with them, they'll give you a timeline for if you want to make changes, when those changes need to be in by. They'll give you information of the suppliers that they'll be using on the project. And they'll also have you sign any necessary documentation. Some builders have a website where they upload the progress of the building, of the apartment. If they do have this, they'll provide you with a password. And if that's the case, they'll want you to sign that they've provided this information to you and that you'll be treating the website with respect. They'll want you to sign on a document that confirms that they've transferred all this information to you regarding their process and the timeline. If you're working with a designer, they may, and you're requesting an AutoCAD plan, they may also ask you to sign on this document as well. There may be some other ones. It really depends on the builder. I find that your added goal for this meeting, aside from getting all this information, is to understand the aesthetic decisions that been made for the apartment to date. So I'll share with you a number of questions that I recommend asking the builder. I like to find out from the builder what are the grout companies that they are using and the color. There are some builders that use specific grout company and colors. Some of them will allow you to choose from a variety of colors, but some of them will only have 2 or 3 colors. I don't want to find out once I've picked brown tiles for my clients, or that my clients have picked tiles, that they're not offering a brown grout and that they're only offering gray and white or gray and cream. So that's something I want to know from the beginning. I want to know what the color of the aluminum windows frames will be. That might also be incorporated into the aesthetics of the apartment. And later down in the presentation, I'll show you a couple of examples. I'll want to know what the corners of the bathroom tiling will be. Will they be aluminum corners or will they be angled corners? Angled corners are tiles that are cut at 45-degree angles. Not all builders will do that. There are specific builders that will. But if not, they'll be putting aluminum corners at the edges of the tiles. And I wouldn't know whether it's going to be white or aluminum. Some of them will give you an option, but some of them may have just one standard aluminum color that they use. So I want to know what color they'll be using. I want to know whether the ceilings will be concrete or drywall. Many builders just have concrete ceilings with drywall in the hallways and bathrooms to allow for air conditioning. But there are some that will also have drywall in the living room or in the dining room. And I want to know that because that will impact whether they'll be using recessed lighting or not. I want to know where those drop ceilings are located, if they will be having drop ceilings, aside from having them in the hallways and in the bathrooms. And I may also want to know what the details regarding the baseboards are. Many builders use the standard baseboards that you see in many Israeli homes. They're made out of tiles that are 7 centimeters high, protruding out about 1 centimeter. But there are some that will also use recessed baseboards, and that may impact later once my clients get their keys, whether they'll use paneled baseboards, or that will also impact possibly the carpentry. So those are the questions that I want to understand. These are things that the builder should know from the beginning. Okay, so the reason you want to know your budget is to understand what changes you can make, and if you want to upgrade, what type of upgrades you can do that fit within your budget. You should know that in Israel, closets, appliances, and light fixtures are not normally included within a builder's package. And you also want to leave budget available for your furniture and home styling. I recommend preparing an inspiration board. You can prepare an inspiration board through Pinterest, through images that you find on the computer, through House, through taking a magazine and cutting out pictures. Preparing an inspiration board will help keep you focused, and it will keep you in line with your vision. Once we go to suppliers, we start seeing different things. It's nice to have an inspiration board that keeps your selections focused with the way you want to feel, the color scheme that you want to have, and different elements that you want to incorporate into your home. As we said, the Mitaymet Shinuim will give you a timeline as to when you could do changes. I recommend that you be specific with the builder's coordinator to understand what changes can be made. If you decide to make changes that will accommodate your family's needs. Sometimes the builder will not allow you to make changes to the lighting, depending on what stage the building is at. And sometimes they will. So it's important to understand from the builder exactly which changes can be made. You should pay special attention to plumbing, electrical, and lighting points. These are points that may be difficult or timely or costly to be made once you get your keys. If you plan on making these changes, I recommend that you're doing them earlier as opposed to later in the process. And just a note of caution that once you make your selections and give in your plans to the builder, if you decide to make changes, if you go back and want them to open the file, they'll charge you an additional fee just to open up the file. So once you've signed on your plans and on your selections, the selections, depending on what it is, you may be able to change because it's being done through the suppliers, but your plans are plans that need to be given into the builder. So once you've signed them, just make sure that this is what these are the changes that you actually want to incorporate. The builder will have a number of vendors that they work with. Normally, all the purchases pertaining to the build out of this apartment will need to go through to their specific vendors. Depending on the builder, they'll have between 1 and 3 tile and sanitary suppliers, 1 to 2 suppliers for the kitchen. Normally, they'll have 1 supplier for the interior doors and 1 for the kitchen countertops. In the event that the builder gives you an option between A, B, C tile supplier, you will need to buy all your supplies from the supplier that you chose. If you chose to go with B supplier, your sanitary fixtures, your tiles, all the tiles need to be bought from supplier B. You can't choose to buy half from A and half from B. The builder normally gives you between 4 to 6 weeks to submit your selections. Again, it depends on the process and the timeline of the builder. So take note of that when you meet with the Mitaymet Shinuim. And I recommend that you book your appointments right away with the suppliers. Sometimes there is a 2-week lead time, so book your appointments. The kitchen planning and design is very important. The kitchen is really the base of our home. It is the place we spend a lot of time in. Planning and designing a beautiful and functional kitchen takes thought, planning, coordination. Planning your layout, choosing your materials for the cabinets, countertops, sinks, and faucets, as well as your appliances are all part of the process. I recommend upgrading the kitchen. The kitchens that the builders give are quite minimal. For a functional kitchen and a practical kitchen, you will probably have to upgrade it. Normally, the builder will give you a Formica kitchen with some cabinets, maybe a few drawers. It doesn't usually include a pantry, but may, depending on the builder. So just look at the layout, see what they're giving you, and decide whether this is something that meets your family's needs or something that you may have to upgrade. These are the selections that the builder normally includes with your apartment. General flooring. Until a couple of years ago, most builders were giving a 60 by 60 tile. I'm finding over the last couple of years that has been increased to 80 by 80 or 90 or 100 by 100, which is really nice. The bigger the tile, the less grout marks you have. And with bigger tiles, it also looks like a larger expanse area. Bathroom wall tiles, normally we're finding 30 by 60 tiles, sometimes a little bit smaller. We are seeing in some projects that's going up higher as well, but most of them are staying within 30 by 60. Bathroom floor tiles, until a couple of years ago, we were seeing just 33 by 33 tiles. Now we are seeing also 60 by 60 tiles, which is nice. The bathroom tiles will be specific. They have to be anti-slip. So there is specific tiles that can be used. The bathroom cabinets that the builder supplies are normally Formica cabinets. Sometimes we are seeing some painted cabinets as well, and they will usually come with a white integrated sink. The faucets of the bathroom, I recommend upgrading. They're normally very low spouted faucets, and I find it difficult even to put your hands under and wash your hands. So that's something that you may want to upgrade. Showers will normally have a three-way interputs. A three-way interputs is hot, cold, and then normally they supply you with a handheld shower hose. A four-way interputs usually includes a shower head. So in showers, if they're supplying you with a three-way interputs, if you want to have that shower head, you will need to upgrade. And in bathrooms, in the bathtubs, they normally give you a four-way, which is the hot, cold water, the water that comes into the bath, and then a shower, handheld shower. Kitchen, sink, and faucet are things that the builder includes as well. The kitchen cabinets, which we spoke about in the last slide. The kitchen countertops, normally within the builder standard package, they'll offer you 3 to 4 different standard countertops. Normally it's white, gray, maybe a cream, and another color, maybe a brown, a beige. They'll supply you with the exact model numbers that they're including within their standard package. The doors are normally supplied by 1 or 2 specific different door companies. And depending on the builder, they may ask you if you want to change or upgrade your electrical plates. If they do, they will show you the company that they're working with. Most companies are using the same electrical plates throughout the whole building, but there, like I said, there are some builders that will upgrade them if you decide to do that. Inspections are required throughout the process to ensure the work being done is according to the floor plans and the specifications, including the electrical and plumbing. You will need to do an inspection to confirm the material that was delivered to the site is actually the material that was ordered. I've had a couple of situations where the floor tiles that were delivered were actually not the right tiles. So that's definitely something that you need to go and check. And the foreman will actually call you to the site when the tiles are received to confirm that they are actually the ones that you ordered before that they're installed. I like to have an inspection before the kitchen is measured. I've had a number of situations where a wall that was supposed to be 3 meters, for example, was 270. And once the kitchen company called me, letting me know that they're ready to go in and measure the apartment, I know it's time to go in and take a look for myself so that I don't have any problems once they put it into production. I'll also go in before the kitchen installation is done. Sometimes the kitchen is measured, you meet with the kitchen company, and then they just make the last few changes or the details that have to be confirmed within the plan. And there may be an electrical point that was in the wrong location, and they'll send that information to the builder in order for them to update it and make sure that the electrical plans are actually where they requested them. So I'd like to go in and see that those plans or any little minor adjustments that needed to be made that the kitchen company sent over, that they were actually done. When the kitchen company is installing the kitchen, they will call you towards the end to come in and see the installation, see the kitchen, to do an inspection to see that everything was done properly. There may be deficiencies that are left of scratches on a cabinet or something that was not put into place. If that's the case, they will write up a report and get it fixed and get it done. I also like to have the countertops, do an installation before the countertops are installed, where if there were any deficiencies that needed to be done with the kitchen company, I want to know that the kitchen is complete in its right location with everything there before the countertops are installed. There are some builders that only allow a specific number of inspections. I have not had this myself, but I know that it does exist. And I know it's very exciting to go throughout the process and see the different stages of its completion and see the apartment come to life. But if you are given a certain maximum number of inspections, of visits that you can do to the apartment, I suggest that you adhere to them, because you might get to the time that you actually need to make those inspections and You don't want to be caught not being able to make them. Shortly before the apartment is ready, there's a Mesira Rishona, which is a pre-closing inspection, which will take place a few weeks before the apartment is completed. A list of deficiencies will be compiled together with the builder. You'll do a walkthrough of the apartment and you'll compile this report. I recommend that this inspection be done by a specialized engineer who specializes in this field. He is trained to know what needs to be done, what should be done. You should be there to see that the electrical points, the plumbing points, that the changes that you requested are in the right locations. The inspector is not, or the engineer is not going to be going through your plans and seeing that you requested a wall moved here or that you requested an additional electrical plug. They're going to be seeing what's on site today and what deficiencies exist with either tiles, chips and tiles, or in the paint, or in electrical points that, not electrical points, but in other areas. For example, if a door molding does not go down to the floor, there's different areas throughout the apartment that they'll be inspecting. After the inspection, the builder should correct the deficiencies. The final Mesira is when you'll begin getting your keys, and this is a very exciting time. There may be small deficiencies that still have to be attended to. During this final Mesira, I recommend that you go and do another walkthrough. There may be tiles that had to be repaired in inspection, and something else may have chipped, something small may have chipped in that process. So just do another walkthrough, make sure that there's no other deficiencies, small deficiencies to report, and you'll get your keys. Once you get your keys, if there weren't any minor deficiencies in the last Mesira meeting, they should be really minor deficiencies that the builder will attend to in the next day or two or a couple days. So once you're in there, you'll see that the builder has actually completed those deficiencies. But now once you have your keys, it's the time to complete any post-builder work or upgrades that you want to do. Whether you want to put any drop ceilings, any moldings, the glass shower enclosures, this is the time to install them. If you want to do any specialty paints or wallpaper installation, if you want to prepare any recessed lighting and installation, this is the time. Carpentry installation, lighting installation, this is all the time to do it now. Once all those things are completed, you'll bring in a cleaning crew to come and do a meticulous cleaning of the whole apartment. And then you'll be ready to have your appliances, your furniture, and everything installed. This is so exciting, and this is really when it starts to look like home. Home styling is what infuses your home with its soul. Textiles, window coverings, area rugs, throws, pillows add warmth and texture to any room. Art adds a focal point. Plants add life, and accessories add interest. It's definitely an ingredient that must be included in your homes. We're putting it all together and bring life, character into every room. So this is an apartment that clients of mine purchased. They actually bought an apartment, and then within a couple of months, the second one became available. Here in this apartment, we made changes and did all the preparatory work for the lighting, the plumbing. We did changes to the floor plans. My clients decided in this specific situation to stay within the standard package for their tiles. They have the 60 by 60 centimeters tiles. This was already going back 2 or 3 years ago. So they had in the 60 by 60 tiles. Their bathroom tiles stayed within the standard package. Their faucets were upgraded because I recommend upgrading to higher faucets, but the flooring, the wall tiles stayed within the standard package. They upgraded their kitchen, the faucet and the sink within their kitchen. And they decided to invest their budget within the furniture, within the carpentry, within the lighting. So that's where they allocated their budget. This is an apartment that was completed a couple of years ago as well. This client upgraded their flooring. They've upgraded their tiles in the bathroom and in the floor tiles and the wall tiles. They upgraded their kitchen. On the other hand, their furniture, this is actually an apartment that's being used as a rental, and their furniture, they decided that they would be going within a minimal budget with their furniture. Some of their furniture is IKEA actually. And then we added wallpaper to give it a punch and some beautiful lighting as well. This is the apartment that I wanted to show you. It has the blue aluminum framed windows, and this is really where it's important to know the color of the aluminum. This is actually not it's not standardly used, but it's really a gorgeous color, and really the whole look of the room feeds off of it. And we put a lot of blue in here. This is a color that my clients liked, and it really fits in perfectly. So this client actually upgraded some of their tiles, their kitchen, to really complete the room, and it's beautiful. This is their kitchen and kitchen / dining room table, which they really love. And I thank you for being here, and I hope you found this information useful. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to take your questions.
Okay, that was very thorough. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a couple of questions. I answered a couple of questions that were about recordings and the slideshow. The answer is yes, this is being recorded, and I will send out the recording along with the slideshow. Today's Wednesday, so hopefully tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then it'll be on Sunday. But you'll have everything and including contact information, etc. We have a couple of questions I'll present to you, Sandy, and you'll take it away.
Okay.
Our first question is from our most popular participant, a consistent participant, Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous Attendee. And the question is, how do you decide on a supplier? Which goes back to
how do you decide on a supplier?
Correct.
So when you're buying in a new development project, we, the clients, or the designer, the clients are not deciding on the supplier. It's actually the builder themselves that are giving you the list of the suppliers that they're using. They'll give you a tile supplier, which is also the sanitary supplier, the sanitary fixture supplier. They'll give you a door supplier. They'll give you a kitchen and countertop supplier. And those are the suppliers that they give you. So we're not deciding it. It's the builder themselves that are giving you the contact information, the names, the numbers of the suppliers that they're working with.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go with the quicker questions first, and then there's a longer question.
Okay.
Do you have any recommendations for inspection engineers, which I suspect you probably do, but I would probably recommend to Aaron that he email you, and you'd be happy to share with you.
Definitely. You can be in touch with me privately, and I'm happy to give you a couple names.
Do they usually provide extra tiles at the end of the project?
Do they provide extra tile?
Yeah.
The builder does order extra tile, and there usually is a box or two that will be left behind, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. It depends how many tiles they break along the way or how many of them come chipped. But if you plan on doing any post-builder renovations, I recommend that you'll be moving walls, for example, and you will need a couple extra tiles, or if you're concerned about that, I recommend that you purchase a couple extra boxes.
Good piece of advice. If one of my tiles breaks, I'm in big trouble. Okay, here's a bit more of an entailed question. I'll try to break it up for you.
Okay.
Is it possible to retain a building engineer to watch the quality of the construction?
Is it possible
to hire an outside building engineer or an engineer of some sort to kind of monitor the quality of the construction that's being built?
That's something that you'll have to speak to the builder about. every builder has their different ways of working and different rules. So that's something that you'll have to ask the builder about. I'm actually working on a building in a project now, and even the amount of times that we're allowed to come onto the site is limited, or when we're allowed to start coming, or how many people can come to the site is limited. And we have to sign on. For the person that comes to the site, we need to sign on, and they need to give us permission. So it's something that you need to discuss with your builder.
Okay. And we have a few questions that kind of all go into the same category of typical costs, which I think are incredibly difficult, might be difficult to answer because the cost of a kitchen upgrade can go from, in my experience, redoing a kitchen, you could get kitchen cabinet doors that cost, whatever per meter, and
it depends. It
so,
depends on it depends on the size of the kitchen. It depends on the material that you use. So yeah, definitely, it's not something that I'd be able to answer right now. Like I said, it depends on the size. Is it a 100-meter apartment? How big will your kitchen be? Is it 150? Will you be using a peninsula, an island? Will you be? There's so many different variables that go into answering that question.
Great, that's what I thought. If you're doing post building after taking the keys, what do you need to get permits for, and what do you not need to get permits for?
When we're doing post builder work, we're talking about doing the work within the apartment. So any work that's done within the apartment, you do not have to get permits for. It's work that's done outside of the apartment, on balconies or gardens. That's where you need to get approvals for. And for the purpose of this presentation, we're talking about work that's being done within the apartment.
Great. Are the kitchen upgrades done through, I think you covered this, but we'll just reiterate, are the kitchen upgrades typically done through the builder or a separate contractor?
The builder will have normally one kitchen company that they work with, sometimes two, but sometimes two, one or two kitchen companies that they work with. Normally it's one kitchen company. If you decide to use this supplier, you will be upgrading your kitchen through the supplier. You do have the option of not installing a kitchen during the builder's process. If that's the case, the builder will give you a credit towards your apartment, a monetary credit, and you can decide to do that. I find that the credit that you're getting is not very large credit. So that's something that you may want to think about and consider whether, when you're doing, and compare how much will it be going through an outside source once you get your keys, and how much would upgrading your kitchen be now during the building process. But if you decide not to install that kitchen that the builder is providing you, or the one that you're upgrading, then they'll give you a credit towards it.
Okay. Oh, here's a very specific question. How much, from an estimate, is the estimate cost of the blue aluminum? I guess somebody really liked it as well.
Oh. You're welcome to be in touch with me, and I'll let you know. Okay.
Are there any other? If there's any other questions, we're going to wrap up the next question or two. So if there's any others, please put them in here, and then we're going to wrap. This is also a pretty specific question that is probably very sensitive to the actual situation. But if you have the option, do you recommend to expand the apartment into a garden or to keep the garden? Yeah, that's really a personal preference thing more than
that's really a personal preference. And again, it also, something like that also requires ishurim, permits to do. Listen, if you can, why not? And if you need the space, but again, it requires possibly architectural work, possibly permits. That's really individually based.
And this is an important question. At what stage should you contact the interior designer?
Okay, that is actually an important question. A lot of people contact an interior designer once they've already purchased the apartment. Some of my clients actually are contacting me before, and that's actually the right time too. During the Corona time, I was actually contacted in the very initial stage where clients actually asked me to go and see the apartments for them, to be their eyes here, because they weren't able to be here. I'm not suggesting that that be the case, but where I am suggesting is that you be in touch from before. Clients have contacted me before. I go through their technical specifications for them. I review it for them. I actually also advise them on what areas they may be able to ask the builder to upgrade at maybe no cost or minimal cost. There are things that the builder may upgrade, and there are things that they will not even think about upgrading. So I can suggest to you things that are within their possible range. And those are actually, this is the plus of contacting us prior to buying the apartment.
Wonderful. I think that wraps up our questions. Sandy, thank you very much for your informative presentation. As I mentioned before, I did. Everything was recorded. We'll be sending out in the next 24 to 48 working hours. So you won't get it on Friday afternoon. I do try to have a life every once in a while. And this wraps up the Nefesh B'Nefesh pre and post Aliyah programming for 2021. We're in the midst of planning for the next year. We'll be doing some changes. We'll be doing some new innovations. We've been sprinting and running since we turned everything virtual in 2020 in March. And we finally have a little time to breathe. Things have calmed down a little bit. You might have seen in the paper today. This was the biggest year of Aliyah since 1973 from North America. We look forward to having a similar year or even greater next year as things hopefully calm down, although it's not looking great right now. We are also excited to be able to host programs in person. Moving forward, our new building in Jerusalem opened 6-8 weeks ago, and we are very, very excited to start welcoming people there. Unfortunately, we didn't do so great in the weather the other night, and we had some significant leakage, so we're not even going to the office this week, but we do look forward to welcome you all into our in-person programming, into our continued virtual programming. We're not going to abandon virtual programming just to be together, because it has proven to be very effective in a nice way to be able to allow people from across the country to be able to engage with us. So with that, I thank you. Wish you a good evening, and thanks, Sandy, again. We look forward to continue to work with all of you. Have a great night.
Thank you.